Hello and welcome to the Bad Pipes podcast. I'm your best host, not the guest host today. I am Scott, and with me today is Andrew. He's my guest host.
I'm the prime host. I'm the prime host Meridian. Okay, I'm not gonna have this betrayal, this treachery, this treason, this heresy on my ship.
This week, Rings of Power.
We return to the crapster piece, Rings of Power.
Episode 4. Before we get into that,
before we dig into it,
I want to revisit something.
All right, what are we revisiting here?
I want to revisit the orc family.
The orc family.
Okay.
I had a feeling that she would, and it was something we didn't talk about much last time.
Mm-hmm.
So in Tolkien, it does say that orcs like proliferate in the manner of the children of Iluvatar, right?
Yeah.
Which is like men and elves.
Yeah. So they reproduce.
Yeah, they reproduce.
I think the issue with the orc family and what the Rings of Power was introducing, I think tonally it's wrong. Like, it goes against Tolkien, the way that he's always presented orcs, in that they are wholly evil and irredeemable. So if you're telling me that you're trying to have us sympathize with this poor orc woman and her poor orc child that looks so innocent and so helpless and scared, you're just wrong.
Well, I think even beyond that, the issue I have with it is the idea that orcs have family units, right?
Yeah.
So you have like mommy orc, daddy orc, and baby orc, and it's like, that's not how this would work.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like it does even go like beyond just tonally, but yeah, I mean, it seems like I
agree with you though. Like, that is part of it. Like, part of it is that like tonally, the idea of like a family of orcs is like family unit. It doesn't make sense.
Well, and I think you make a good point that, like, okay, why are we saying they have a family unit? Why are we not saying that, like, they just breed like animals? 'Cause, I mean, Tolkien, a lot of times he presents them in like an animal or beast like way.
Yeah, they're animalistic killers. They take pleasure from like horrendous things,
Yeah, I mean, they want to watch the world burn. They want to kill men. So like they're meant to be a mirror of men. So if men, the men of Middle Earth, do present themselves or like have family units, I think we're going against that mirroring, in that the orcs also have that.
Yeah, and a further caveat to this is that I believe in one of his letters, Tolkien did say that he wished he had come up or like kind of gotten around to making a way for orcs to be redeemed. Mm-hmm. But I think a redeemed orc would just be like returned to a sort of elf-like lifestyle. I don't think it would be any kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, you just have these.
It's all conjecture at this point.
Oh yeah. I mean, we should take it as it was presented to us and as he gave it to us, which is, I mean, they are just the war machine of literally Satan.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing they truly have love for is Morgoth, and they will, like, kind of begrudgingly and not without guile or attempts to overthrow him, like, serve Sauron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've addressed that, we can get into episode 4.
Yeah, episode 4. This episode was the Harfoots, the wild
Isildur
men.
Isildur and all of them dealing with the wild men or something.
Yeah.
Why? And then Galadriel and Elrond and their company.
Where it was like established the men of Mordor now are like called the wild men.
I can't. I don't know. If you missed it, if it was there and you missed it, then I also missed it, because it kind of felt like it just happened.
They do such a poor job of like establishing stuff.
Yeah. The first 2 episodes, I said, man, there's like, parts of it weren't bad. Like, I was looking forward to seeing stuff. If they wanted to continue on that trend, they absolutely failed, because episode 4 was fucking trash.
And it's so slow. I mean, like, we mentioned that the pacing wasn't good, but like this episode, all of the interactions between the stranger and Tom Bombadil, both of those in quotes, because I don't like these characters, man. And like, they made the conscious decision, right? The intentional decision to put Tom Bombadil into the show, and he is not at all Tom Bombadil as Tolkien wrote him.
No. He also sounds like a British Forrest Gump. I'm sorry. I could not hear it. The way he speaks sometimes, it comes out. He's got like this like weird, like it's like an elongation of his words.
Yeah, I definitely caught something odd with his accent, because I was like, and like, they do this thing where like, okay, we're gonna have this character and he's gonna say some of the things that the character Tolkien wrote said, but they're not the same character, right? It's so frustrating, because Tom Bombadil is this guy that shows up, and you know what's like, all of it's derivative too. Because whenever you first meet Tom Bombadil in the Fellowship of the Ring, the hobbits sleep under an oak tree. The oak tree comes alive in the night and like starts trying to consume them with its roots, basically. And then Tom Bombadil shows up and just like, I got you, and like gets the tree to stop. And then they do the same stupid crap here, where it's like, ooh, old man Iron Tree or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
You should have asked him before you tried to take his branch or something, and you're like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? And their conversations are so like meandering, and they're trying to do like the mystery thing, like, ooh, I don't answer any question directly. Isn't that mysterious? And it's like, no, it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
I really do not like what they are doing with this show.
No.
Like, we had said before that we had said before that like, if they had just reskinned this, it would have been like a kind of meh, fantasy show. I don't believe that at this point. At this point, I'm like, no, like within the confined narrative of this show, like it's bad. Like the pacing is bad. The conversations are bad. The plot lines are like Deus Ex Machina with like plot contrivance, which leads into what you were about to get to, the Barrow Wights.
Yeah.
So if we assume, right, that this is taking place at the end of the Second Age, even though there's like there's like beginning of the Second Age stuff, there's like end of the Second Age stuff, all happening at the same time because they want to make the plot of the show happen, which is every event in the show. Yeah. You got the Barrow Wights here. They shouldn't be here yet. Like, there shouldn't be Barrow Wights yet in the lore. The depiction of them is not at all what I ever saw as Barrow Wights. These are more like wraiths, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel about that. Maybe not like ring wraiths, but like they're more like ghosts.
I also just while watching it, I thought they looked a little cheesy.
Yeah, they did.
Like they didn't look good. Like it was almost like the CGI or whatever they were using just like did not look good.
Yeah. I don't know why that happens too. Like the CGI establishing shots for like, ooh, now we're in Numenor again. That looks pretty good. And then you get to like the action CGI stuff and it doesn't look good. It looks bad. But so the whole Barrow Wights thing happens. The one elf gets like dragged into the tomb or whatever with the chains, and he just gets like crunched off screen, and you're like, ooh, squelch, cool, wow, so impressive. And then they're getting like poked with swords and slapped with swords, and then they just put their body back together, and it's like, oh no, our weapons can't hurt them. Like, they're literally saying this stuff, our weapons can't hurt them. And then freaking Elrond on a whim is like, open that tomb, use these crappy weapons. And then once it's dealt with, he's like, in the old lore, it said that beings like this could be killed with the weapons they were buried with or whatever. And you're like, what do you mean beings like this?
Yeah. It also just it felt very pointless. Like, it felt like we wasted time with this entire scene and like dealing with the Barrow Wights doing all that. Like, what was the point? How did this progress the plot?
They literally didn't.
Yeah.
It did nothing. It was, they show up at the bridge because the whole elf storyline is, all right, Commander, I need a bowman and 2 swordsmen. Do you know any? And then Galadriel will be in a huff and being like, well, Elrond, yeah, I know some. And him being like, do you have a problem with me being in charge? And she's like, no. But I don't want to see anyone in this company die. And you're like, I hate this, dude. This is all like the most cliche roles that they could have written for this stuff.
Yeah.
And then someone does die. And it's literally not mentioned at all, except for like the little funerary scene there. Which is so funny because we didn't even talk about this for, I think it was the 3rd episode, which is all the Númenórean stuff. But like every personal conversation, every character building conversation that happened in that episode was, oh, someone I knew died and I blame myself for it. Arondir, the Black Elf, he had that conversation with the healer's son.
With Theo.
With Theo. Theo feels that way because his mom died, and I'm not even sure I was paying attention because I didn't, like, I realized his mom died, but then I was like, wait a second, wasn't she fine at the end of last season? Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
But the actress didn't re-sign.
Yep.
So Arondir has that conversation. Theo has that conversation. Isildur has that conversation. Oh, my mom drowned because she was saving me from the Riptide. And then, is it Galadriel? I can't remember who else, but there was like literally another conversation that was like, oh no, the Queen of Númenor. What's her name? Muriel?
Oh god, I don't even remember. Yeah, Muriel, I think.
Muriel, I believe. She feels responsible for her dad's death, and you're like, what is this, man? Like, it's just like comically soap opera. Like, oh, we're gonna have 4 different storylines going on, and every single one of them are actually gonna be just the same. It's gonna be character mad at world or mad at self or whatever because they blame themselves for a loved one's death. Like,
yeah,
that's, I don't know. Like, if orcs had shot your mom, would you blame yourself? I wouldn't.
Yes.
I'd probably blame the orcs. I'd probably blame Sauron or Adar or Morgoth or any number of things before I was like, oh, I needed to have, I don't know, killed every orc so that couldn't have happened. Like, there is no motivation to these characters. The motivation for the character is whatever they need to make the plot happen for that scene that they're currently in.
Yeah. So yeah, that was terrible. Because I mean, the elves, they're just this company of elves just on their way to Eregion, right? Like, they're just going to see Celebrimbor.
Yeah, they're going to tell Celebrimbor that Sauron is fucking around and, hey, please don't make any more rings, I think. I really don't know. I don't know why they're going there. I cannot remember. The show has not, I don't think mentioned it in this. In fact, I think the only real motivation you get for them wanting to get there quicker is that they come across the orc army in this episode that they didn't know about.
Yeah, which, oh, the one thing I'll give them, choreography wasn't too terrible. There was some cool. They had some cool moves in there. Yeah.
For which fight?
I'd say for Galadriel versus the orcs.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it.
It wasn't.
It's not like the best thing I've seen.
Well, it wasn't as ridiculous as her choreography in the first season, right? Where she's like riding on the side of the horse and doing fucking flips and spins on the horse and stuff.
Yeah, it's still very over the top, but I mean,
yeah. When she shoots the flaming arrows, did I miss something? Why did they like explode when they hit the orcs?
I don't know.
Because later on, she shoots the lantern and it lights like 3 orcs on fire, and I was like, okay, but why did the arrows explode?
Yeah. Could not tell you.
Orc sweat is just straight nitroglycerin, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. How do you feel about Ents?
It's that whole storyline is so stupid, man.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so it's Isildur and Erendir, and they're trying to find Theo, who's in Ent jail, which is just
in
the top of a tree.
I just gotta know, would you?
With an Ent?
Yeah, would you?
I wouldn't, but it looks like Erendir would, with the way he was gently caressing her arm.
He's getting real intimate.
So the two of them are trying to find Theo. They have, is it Estrid?
Yeah, Estrid. The wild thing. Oh my god, Game of Thrones. The wild woman, wild man
I mean,
woman.
that's what they're trying to do, though. They're trying to make a freaking comparison to the wildlings, where it's like, these are the bad people that you don't know if you can really trust or not.
Yeah.
And they do the most cliche shit with it, where they're like, now that we know you're a wild woman, we're gonna put you in handcuffs to take you to find Theo. Which, why are they bringing her? I really don't know.
Because they think Theo was taken by the wild men, and they want her to lead them to their encampment. Because she's one of them. Confirmed. Yeah.
Okay. So while they're doing that, Isildur steps in a freaking mud puddle, right? And then gets sucked in and drags Arondir with him. And then Homegirl goes with the stick and sticks the stick in. And I'm like, if you're about to tell me that the elf could not pull the guy out, but she's about to pull both of them out with this stick, I'm going to freaking lose it. And you know what? That's not what they did.
It's not.
Instead, they had a giant mud snake thing come up out of the...
It came up out of the bog.
It's not even a bog. That's the most ridiculous part of it. They're in the woods. This is literally like a track of trees that has been cut down. And in the mud right there, there's a
snake.
A probably 20-foot long giant ass mud snake.
And it swallowed them whole.
Yeah. But luckily she stuck the stick in the mud, which made the snake come out of the mud. And then Arondir was able to cut them out.
Yep.
And did you notice how they cut that scene too? Like, she's like face to face with the snake, and then his sword comes out of it, and then it like cuts, and the snake is like falling away, and Arondir is just like standing there, and Isildur is laying on the ground, and like you didn't see them actually come out.
Yeah. Cutting corners.
It's the number of times they do that though, where like they cut and they don't actually show you what happened, and so you're left with this sort of like, oh well, I guess that happened. That was kind of cool, I guess. He cut them out of the snake. you cut themselves out of the snake, and you're like, But then they shave things off like that, and you're like, it just cheapens it.
Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, but so then they I don't know what they finally find Theo in his cage.
Well, yeah, they talk to the Ents, and Arondir hits that flirt check on the Ent woman, and she's like, all right, I'll let your little pals out. Very easily convinced for Ents, too, you know? Because, like, in Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty sure Merry and Pippin had to stand over with the Ents for, like, a day or two before they said, okay, we finally decided you're not orcs. And then I think one of them goes to the Entwood and is like, hey, orcs are cutting down all the trees. We gotta go attack Saruman's house right now. And they were like, cool, okay. We hate it when people cut down trees. That's really got our blood boiling now.
Yep.
Hold on. Is that the books? Because I think in the movie, Treebeard's like, nah, we're not going to war. Walks for a while, and then sees where the orcs cut down the trees, and he went, okay, never mind, we're going to war.
Oh, yeah, that's in the movies where they're they like convince him to go south by Isengard because they're like, oh yeah, the closer you are to danger, the further you are from harm. And he's like, okay, I like going south. It feels like I'm going downhill. And then they get to where the orcs cut down the trees, and he's like, he lets out a roar, and then all the Ents rally.
The writers of this show wish they could write a line like, the closer you are to danger, the further you are from harm.
Yeah, such a good line. There's a reason I remember it.
Yeah.
I could not tell you a single line from this show that really sticks with me, other than like maybe trying to paraphrase some of the dumb shit that's in there.
Yeah, the pseudo-Tolkien stuff is what sticks.
Yeah.
Where you're like...
Yeah.
I mean, we quoted most of the good ones last week, but we definitely missed some.
Yeah.
Like dude, what was the one? It was like the dwarves about the songbirds. Like songbirds remind your stomach's empty or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, what? I think Jesus says it.
Something about isn't it about like rumors or conjecture or something? She says it's, I think, isn't it when she's talking about like them bringing conjecture into the thing, into the council, the chamber, the king's room? I don't know.
I have no clue. I just remember being like, songbirds, an empty stomach? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's how like most of the quotes in the show go anyway. They say something, you go, what? The fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
What else do we have? Okay, yeah, we have the Harfoots.
The Harfoots.
Nori and Poppy.
Yeah, who find nobody.
Yeah. AKA, fuck, what was his name?
Some dork-ass gnome-looking dude.
Yeah.
Looks like one of those troll dolls.
He honestly does. His hair is sticking straight the fuck up.
Yeah.
Merrimack.
Merrimack?
Merrimack, yeah. This is a real name.
Mac.
Yep.
With buttons up her back.
Well, he said he's nobody because people call him nobody, but his mom calls him Merrimack.
What do you think of the halfling desert town thing they're doing here?
I think it's stupid. I think this whole storyline is stupid. I think they could have just left all this shit out.
Yeah, me too.
I think the whole storyline of like, there's some fucking hobbit Moses gonna lead his people to the promised land. And
that's what, dude, that is exactly how I felt about it. Like, oh, you've got this prophecy that this dude is going to lead your people to the promised land, which immediately made me think of the first episode where Sauron shows up in Mordor and he's talking to Adar and he's like, let my people go. And you're like, we're doing the Bible thing now?
Honestly.
Sauron is human Moses for the people of Mordor? I don't understand where you're going with this.
Yeah.
But then he's not. He puts a blonde wig on and he becomes a friend. I'm just a friend. Call me Anatar. Here's a gift.
God, did we even talk about that scene of him like at the furnace, and Celebrimbor just looks at him and it's just like clouds, and he literally just looks like Jesus standing up there, silhouetted by the clouds.
No, because we're just
that
so
was so fucking
overwhelmed
funny
with how fucking ridiculous. Yeah, that scene is utterly ridiculous. He's wearing these like ridiculous robes that make him look like he's Moses. Make him look like he's Moses or friggin' whoever, like a biblical sort of figure. Then, I think in the third episode, whenever the Dwarf King shows up and gives him the mithril to make the dwarven rings, they literally just, there's no ceremony or anything. Celebrimbor walks up to the Dwarf King with like a smirk on his face and then takes the mithril and hands it to Sauron, who then does some like weird hand stuff. I don't know if it's implied that he's doing something to the mithril or not, but then I
think he's pouring his malice and his cruelty into the mithril to forge the dwarven rings, so that he can later overpower them.
I think that's what you're meant to take it as.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it just looks like he holds it funny for a moment and then just literally just plops it in.
Yeah.
Like he's dropping a bag of dog poop in a garbage can. Apartment life. Yeah. So, and something else with that scene, have you noticed that every time the elves are forging something, they're never using hammers or anything? They never show you like the actual process of making the rings. It's always just like, look at our goofy ass machine to make boiling metal up at the top, run down a freaking, what's that game with where you're trying to catch the mouse? Is it literally just like rat trap or mouse trap? Yeah. It's like you got this goofy mousetrap set up where the metal flows down into another reservoir and then into another reservoir, and then you plop the mithril in, and then it goes out, and it doesn't show you where it freaking goes. And to be fair, another reviewer that I watched after our review, The One Ring, I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They had a really big fan site, like fan forum back in the day whenever the Lord of the Rings movies were coming out. And like it blew up. It was huge. It was massive. The guy who started that site has a YouTube channel. It's just called The One Ring. And him and another guy, they review every episode. And for that part where they're like, man, if I was an elf blacksmith, right? Or an elf smith or whatever, I think I would be trying to go to Numenor to steal their jobs.
Honestly.
Which, over in Numenor, the whole plot is just like, the queen's using an elf artifact. Oh my god. She's controlled by the elves. Our Pharazon, our Pharazon. And then the eagle shows up and he's like, ah! And you're like,
they're like, the eagle has chosen him.
The eagle has chosen him.
He's our new ruler.
The eagle is a sign. The eagles, first off, because I made this point on Twitter, I was like, why is the eagle even there? Why is there an eagle in Numenor? Eagles live in the mountains in this world. And someone goes, actually, eagles did show up in Numenor from time to time because they were messengers. And I'm like, and what fucking message was this bird carrying? Huh? Another thing, eagles in Tolkien can talk.
Yeah.
Bird shows up, doesn't say shit, leaves again.
Yeah.
How fucking cool would it actually would have been cool, I think, if the bird had like shown up and been like, Pharazôn should be king, actually. And then just fucked off again.
Yep.
I'd have been like, huh, okay. That was kind of dumb. Show didn't set that up at all, but like, the eagle talked at least. That's Tolkien.
Exactly. They can't even give us that.
No. No, they can't, because they hate us. We're the racists and bigots who leave the half-star reviews for this show. Because we can't stand women. Or halflings of color. That's so ridiculous. This show has so many glaring issues.
Yeah.
Like writing, plot, dialogue, the editing stuff that I have mentioned already. The fact that every time it's a scene at night, you can't see freaking anything.
Yep.
Oh my god,
just
dude.
The tone, the writing, like it goes beyond, like, I don't care who you're casting for what.
If you're racist, there's so many other things in the show to be mad about before any race crap.
Yeah.
Also, don't be racist, guys.
Yeah, just don't. But like,
unless you hate orcs.
Jeez. But like, we should be, I don't know, like there should be, that's like exactly what they immediately go to when people hate on this stuff. And it's just like, no, like, I just want them to write the story well and give us like the tone that we're used to for anything Tolkien.
Yeah. Well, part of the issue too is that I like women. Every female character in the show sucks, dude. The closest they get to having a half decent one is Estrid, and her plotline so far has been so cliche and boring that there's like nothing to attach to. It feels like they're trying to do the Jon Snow, what's her name thing.
Oh, the Jon Snow in
the Jon Snow in the Wildling.
Egret,
right?
Egret.
Like you've literally got the prince, the future High King of, Numenor and all of Middle Earth, conceivably, as far as humankind goes.
How's that going to happen? Is the eagle going to choose him? Is the eagle going to come in and talk and be like, Isildur's the one?
Well, because that's the thing, right? Is we already know the plot. We just know that they're going to do it in the dumbest way possible. So our Pharazôn has usurped his way into becoming the king of Numenor, but eventually Elendil is going to get shit back on track, and then he's going to get killed by Sauron, and then Isildur picks up his busted ass sword and cuts the ring off his finger.
I'm just
like
really
4 seasons from now.
I'm really looking forward to the point where Galadriel just goes, you know what? I'm not about it. And she just decides not to go to war with everyone. She goes, yeah, this man who I literally have vowed to murder for killing my brother.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are like marching on like his shit? Like you're going to fuck his shit up? Nah, I'm good. I'm just going to go into the woods and fuck off.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, how are they? I know we've talked about this. We've discussed it. It's just like, how are they going to just fight? And the only thing I can think of is they're just like, there's this other greater threat elsewhere that she's leading people to fight.
Yeah, like what? The Dark Wizard? Like what? What are they gonna do?
Yeah, I saw a theory that was someone saying that they hope the stranger is not Gandalf, and that the Dark Wizard and the stranger are actually the 2 blue wizards. Because somewhere Tolkien mentions that they dabble in dark magic, and then they eventually go fuck off to the fucking east.
Would that make the story better?
I don't know. I think it'd be better than making him Gandalf.
Yeah, I truly don't know.
Because I'm like, okay, you either make him Gandalf like we all knew you were going to, or you do the fucking Game of Thrones subvert expectations thing, and you're like, oh, you thought it was Gandalf, but no, he's a blue wizard, and you're just like,
Yeah, I've also heard. I
okay,
mean, you've heard everything. There's only like 5 wizards in Tolkien, so
yeah,
it's like, is he one of the blue ones? Because he's not Radagast, which means he's either Gandalf or Sauron or Saruman.
yeah,
Or I guess he might be one of the blue wizards. I don't know. It's all stupid.
yep.
Yeah. Another thing since the last time we recorded, Galadriel is the second oldest elf in Middle Earth. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, she's younger than Círdan, the shipwright, or Círdan, whatever, however you say his name. I believe it's Círdan. I think
It's Círdan, yeah.
Yeah,
Círdan, hard
there's
C.
hard C's in Tolkien. Yeah. She's older than Gil-galad. Gil-galad, always having to watch his children bicker, Elrond and Galadriel. That's one of the most frustrating things about this show is that Galadriel is like apparently the commander of the Northern armies, this like great general, and then Elrond is this expert statesman and architect or whatever the crap he is, and they bicker like children. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you find out something like, oh, Galadriel is the second oldest elf, and she acts like this is like ridiculous, man. Just every aspect of the writing of the show is flawed. It's fundamentally flawed.
Yeah. I mean, she's literally the person that Fëanor was fawning after his like entire life. Is she not like part of his inspiration to create the Silmarils because she denies him and he's like, well, I'm just going to create something even more beautiful to like rival the beauty and light of the fucking trees. And then he creates the Silmarils.
I haven't read the Silmarillion in so long.
I was gonna say it's probably been like 7 or so years since I read it.
I did notice that it is on, if you've got premium Spotify, the Silmarillion read by Andy Serkis is on there.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to.
Andy Serkis does this weird thing when he's reading it though. He's got like dad times story time voice that he kind of does, and if you just like kick the playback speed on it up a little bit, it kind of like knocks that out.
Yeah, so, I was gonna say pretty much any audiobook I listen to, I kick it up to like 1 1/4.
Yeah, I mean you have to do it for him because he's reading so damn slow because he's reading like story time voice. I'm
a big fan of any Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton does a lot of audiobooks. He's got a nice voice.
Yeah, I was listening to Of Turin Turambar, which is Turin Turambar's chapter of the Silmarillion. And man, listening to that, I was like, this is the only Second Age story that they could have like pretty easily done. Because he's not like, I mean, you can pretty much do the same kind of setup as the Lord of the Rings movie. Like, there was a big battle. His dad, like, does this insanely heroic thing and ends up getting captured. Yeah. Then his family is just, like, fucked for a while. People of the East pretty much move in, take over his, like, family's realm. They don't mess with his mom, though, because they think that his mom is a witch. She's afraid that they are going to figure out she's not a witch, so she sends him off secretly to be raised in Gondolin by the High King of the, like, whatever sect of elves that is. I can't remember if it's, like, Sildurin or Noldurin or what they are. He's raised as the king's adoptive son. And then, like, just tragedy follows after that. Like, he's always doing some cool shit, and then he gets, like, too mad and throws a glass at someone, and then, like, the dude tries to fight him, and he fucking throws him off a cliff. Or he gets captured by orcs, and then his best friend comes to save him, and he doesn't realize it's not the orcs fucking with him, it's actually his best friend saving him, so he, like, stabs him. Or he's like, you know what, fuck all this shit, I'm just gonna settle down, and I'm gonna marry this nice girl that I met out in the woods. And it turns out that, like, Greek tragedy level shit is going on.
Yeah. So
all that to say, all of this show has just made me want to go back and read that so that I can, like, even more harshly critique this show, because it's just so damn bad.
Yeah. It's so bad.
All right, so that was pretty much everything. Oh no, I mean, we didn't really talk about the Harfoot stuff. So the Harfoots, they meet the Stoors. The Stoors are these desert halflings. The Harfoots are these gypsy halflings. They're like, we just wander. We don't have a home. And then Nori, like, gets sad about that, but, like, that's been her whole life.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. You know what's crazy too is that Nori just looks so freaking dirty all the time. Yeah. Especially in these episodes, she's got, like, dust in her hair and all this stuff. But then you see the promotional pictures from I think it was the first season. The girl that plays Nori is really pretty.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's cute in this, but, like,
they just,
what are they doing with the hair? I just don't understand the hair for her and Poppy.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we grow our hair to look like bushes or something?
It's because they're nomadic and they don't have time to sit around and brush their hair because they're constantly on the move.
What's that fucking thing they were saying? Like, something and nobody gets left behind unless you break your leg, in which case we leave you for dead, or something like that.
Yeah. God, that was so funny.
God, dude. And then I just don't know. It comes back to the Tom Bombadil thing. Tom Bombadil should be, like, off in his home with Goldberry, and he should just be, like, not giving a fuck about anything going on in the world, because that's who Tom Bombadil is. Like, he's just such a carefree, joyous individual that, like, literal world-ending circumstances don't affect him. And I think Tolkien even at one point was like, if Sauron won and he conquered all of Middle-earth, the last free piece of Middle-earth would be Tom Bombadil's house.
Yeah.
So to have this dude who's like, you've got great things to do with your hands, you've got to defeat the wizard and Sauron, and the stranger is like, what the fuck? I don't know if I can do that. It's like, of all the characters to be like, oh, who can we have teach the stranger how to do magic? Why would you pick Tom Bombadil?
Yep.
Because, like, what he's doing isn't even necessarily magic. Like, he's a fucking fluke. He's like, he's a weird ass character that almost doesn't belong in Tolkien.
Yeah.
And even Tolkien himself was like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so many people always theorize that he's, Iluvatar in
or like some
form
aspect
upon Middle Earth.
Him. Yeah, like getting to enjoy his own creation.
Yeah. Which, like, sure, but, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I don't think Tolkien would have done that. I think that's kind of in the vein of, like, Father Christmas showing up and
Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, and C.S. Lewis being like, yeah, this is cool. And then Tolkien being like, what the hell are you doing, dude?
Yep.
Yeah, and he doesn't Because, like, Tom Bombadil is wearing these, like, garish, outlandish colors whenever the hobbits meet him in Lord of the Rings. He's got, like, yellow boots or red shorts, or, like, he looks out of place. Like, everyone else is normal. Like, Aragorn wears, like, traveling clothes, and the halflings are wearing, like, their halfling crap. Like, the costuming for the first Lord of the Rings, that's pretty much spot on for, like, what you think these different people and cultures look like. And then for this show, you've got everyone just wears like drapes. You got the elves, they're wearing drapes. They're wearing curtains. You got the freaking Numenorians, and they're wearing curtains. And the poor people are wearing dirtier curtains.
Yeah.
Then you get to the freaking like the wildlings and the Mordor folk. I'm just gonna call them wildlings now. You get to them, and they're wearing like generic dirty fantasy clothes, and like you have so much opportunity to tell a story within like set design and costume design of like this is a different culture, and like their different values are shown in their like decoration or their clothing or their weaponry or their shields or armor, and none of that's in this show. The closest you get to that is goofy ass Arendir with his like tree face chest plate thing.
Yeah.
Because like the Numenorian trap looks bad, dude. The freaking like man boob armor, the scaled man boob armor that doesn't even move like scaled armor does.
Some of it looks like bad, like bad cosplay PVA. Like someone decided they were gonna make a replica of what the show armor should have looked like, and they bought some like PVA to like bake in their oven and mold into armor, and that's what it looks like. It looks like someone tried to make a replica of what the armor is in the show.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. And some people have pulled up like really tight stills of the armor, and the stuff that goes under the like kind of more plate kind of stuff on the outside, like where you would normally have a chain shirt or something like that, it looks like a printed shirt. And if you're looking closely while you're watching the show, you can see that. Like, it looks like a printed shirt.
Just bad.
Man. Yeah. And then you get people on the internet, they're like, oh, this show looks so good. The cinematography, the set design. And you're like, the set designs look so small, man. Like, with the wildling people, or the Mordor folk, or the good ones, you've seen, like, establishing shots of, like, a dock to show you where you are. Like, oh, we're back with these people now. But then they're just in kind of nondescript stone wall places.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing really going on. Or in episode 3, you've got like the coronation scene that looks like it's in this really small hall. Yeah. And like, compare that to like anything in House of the Dragon. Everything in House of the Dragon looks so good. You've got massive stone walls when Daemon is running around out of his nightmares in Harrenhal. The throne room in Game of Thrones has always been really good.
Yeah. Or like the what was it? The Sept of Baelor, where they
yes, the Sept, where
the dragon pits, all that.
Yeah. And like, even though the dragon pits are like mostly CGI, it looks good. And like, you can tell it's CGI, but it has the right atmosphere for what the place is.
Yeah.
Shoot, I feel like I had another point. I don't know. The night shots that we talk about as far as like cinematography. Oh, I remember now. The show, this episode, opened with a bunch of shots of Galadriel and Elrond in this elf party, like, traveling. I think this is the first time they've done that, but they're all like, hey, remember Lord of the Rings whenever you'd see like a few characters running across the mountaintop?
Yeah.
It's just the callback to that. And I'm pretty sure that's like the first time they've done that in this show. To show like, look at these people traveling a really far away.
Yeah.
So for once I can be like, there wasn't instant transmission this episode.
True. Well, that's why I was just like confused, because I'm just like, all this Company of Elves is doing is going to Eregion, and it's just like, can't you just like show up there? Is that what we've been doing this whole time? You guys just like bop between Lindon and like Eregion, and you're just like, hey, like we're here. But like now we get to see the entire like.
But then we want to get the Barrow Wights. Remember the Barrow Wights? Because you read
that's
Fellowship of the Ring, right? Remember the Barrow Wights?
Oh my god. No, that's I don't know. That's exactly why I'm like, oh, okay. So like now we're like doing the whole travel thing. Like now we have to watch the progress.
Dude, this whole show is nothing but, it's all based off of that freaking South Park episode with the member berries crap, where it's like, remember this, remember that, remember in Lord of the Rings when they would travel and we'd show you the shots of them walking across the mountain, remember that? Remember in Fellowship of the Ring when the Barrow Wights, if you read the book, remember Tom Bombadil? But then like none of it's true to the source material, so you're like, yeah, I remember all that, but this isn't it. This is like a weird simulacrum of it, like a soulless reproduction of it. Like, this is...
Yeah.
Sad. It makes me sad.
Yeah. Well, we'll just continue to hate watch, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. So... the figure came out, the Samba figures, I should say, for the first episode, the views on it. Let me pull it up here real quick. All right, so season 1 on Samba TV. 1.8 million U.S. households watched the premiere of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power during its first 4 days, available on Prime Video. 1.8 million. That's not bad for a streaming show.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's definitely not great. 902,000 U.S. households watched the first episode of Rings of Power Season 2 on Amazon Prime Video over its first 5 days on Samba TV. It lost half of its viewership from the first to second season.
Damn.
Which pretty much goes along with the numbers we'd seen at the end of the first season, which was that only 30% of its initial viewership watched the finale. So some people actually came back, right? If they lost 66% or even 70% of the viewership, possibly. Some of it came back to watch the first episode. 902,000, though, is not very many.
Nope.
So, yeah. I am extremely frustrated.
Yeah, it's not
with
good.
This show. Yeah.
It's not good. We'll continue to watch it, just to hate watch it and review it, but we're not going to enjoy it.
Oh my gosh. This is so timely. Eric Kane of Forbes 14 minutes ago posted on Twitter, and he said, so in one episode they have Tom Bombadil, so of course not Gandalf has to get eaten by a tree so Tom can save him, and the elves come to the Barrow Downs because Bombadil also saved the hobbits there. Stuff from Fellowship. Wow, references are what makes stories good. Is that not exactly what I just... It's exactly what... Oh my god. Like, we all feel this way. Yeah. All of us feel this way. The people who don't feel this way are the people who like didn't read Fellowship of the Rings, so they don't know what these references are to in the episode.
Yeah.
If you don't follow Eric Kane on Twitter, you should. Audience members and Scott even.
I think I did last week. After seeing some stuff that you after like seeing your conversation in his comments.
Also, he brings up a good point here. They're seriously going with the Dark Wizard. Why does the Dark Wizard not have a name if he's been like terrorizing this place for a while? Why do people just call him the Dark Wizard?
Yeah.
Because like they kind of address that with the Stranger, where it's like, pick your name. Do you want to be Jim? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Names are important.
I feel like they're trying to go with like the White Wizard sort of thing, like referring to like Saruman or Gandalf.
Yeah.
Like that whole,
Well, it'd
whatever.
be the Light Wizard then, right?
Yeah, the Light Wizard.
The Light Wizard. Yeah, I have a feeling because Saruman is Saruman the White.
Yeah.
Which implies, because if Gandalf was Gandalf the Grey and then he died and Iluvatar brought him back and he was Gandalf the White, that at some point Saruman died and got brought back as the White.
Yeah.
Do you think
so this is Saruman.
I was gonna say, do you think that it's one of them is Saruman? Saruman.
I can see that. I could see them doing that to throw us for a loop. Yeah, it would. Do I think it'd be better than Gandalf? Probably. Just because, like, I don't know. As far as it goes,
good view of his staff, by the way.
Like the Stranger or the Dark
Wizard.
No.
The Stranger doesn't have a staff yet.
That's right. Yeah, he's trying to take one off an iron.
He's trying to fucking rip a branch off a tree.
Yeah.
Dude,
I didn't.
The way they got to that in the show, where like he's talking to Tom Bombadil, and then his page blows out of his hand, and he's like, "Oh, I gotta go get my page," and then it like blows onto the tree branch. And he's like, "Oh, this is a sign that this is the branch I was looking for." It was like, is this guy stupid? What? What is this writing? Also, they can have the tree fucking eat him so that Tom Bombadil has to come up and pull him out of the tree. Oh my god. It's just the whole show is like the worst kind of contrivance, man.
Really?
You know what I would like to see?
What?
I tweeted about this a while ago. I would like to see a show where you've got like blonde barbarian elf woman, right? But not Morfydd Clark. Someone who's actually tall.
Okay.
Someone who isn't the shortest person in every scene.
All right.
Beautiful woman, powerful, blonde barbarian elf woman, and she's just like, she is commander of the northern armies or whatever, and it's like her having to outplot and outwit like orcs or something like that, and it's her like infiltrating the freaking orc stronghold with a crack team of elf commandos, and they like, it's just like a Conan the Barbarian style bloodbath where they're like hacking up orcs, and then like some freaking jacked ass troll shows up and just like rips an elf in half, and then like, oh shit's real, and then like they gotta like really pull together to start taking this troll down, and then like the necromancer comes out and he's like bringing the undead trolls back, and they're like, but they're cut in half so that you got like a half of a troll body just like the legs walking around kicking elves into the wall or something, and the top half is like punching the lockpick guy.
Oh,
because you don't need him for the plot anymore, because he already picked the lock that you needed for the plot. So he gets like punched to death. But then like the barbarian elf woman just like brute forces her way through the necromancer spells and just like beheads him and like rolls his head down the stairs like Conan does at the end of the of the movie.
I like it.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Why can't we get cool shit anymore? Why do we gotta get elves bickering and halflings talking about singing bug songs as the legs dance down their throat, and then you got a wizard. Why is writing today so bad that you've got the stranger in this show, and in the Acolyte that we just watched, the bad guy, his name was the Stranger? Like, what are we doing? Yep. What are we doing?
Absolute trash.
If everyone's doing it, it can't be that creative, right?
Yeah.
All right, we done?
Oh, yeah. I got nothing.
All right. Hopefully next week Scott will watch Terminator 0 so we can talk about that.
I will. It's on my list now.
We'll also be... Actually, you're going to be out of town, so maybe I'll just...
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'll just record in the dark by myself, and I'll just have like schizo cast.
Maybe Isaac will be back by then.
Maybe Isaac will have finally had his child by then.
Yeah.
Have finally removed the baby from his own uterus, like the real man that he is.
One could hope.
Or I don't know. Maybe I'll get a super secret guest.
Do it. Bring Tom back.
Camera. I just looked off into the fucking corner of my room and made a face like this was the fucking office or something.
Bring Tom back.
Yeah, I'll bring Tom back. I'll be like, Tom, Bombadil.
Bring your girlfriend on.
No way. No way.
Have Ashton in.
Yeah, bark, 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 bark.
All right.
Thanks for listening. If you too wanted to become a space wizard and stick it to the dark wizard hegemony, you could do that at patreon.com/badpies podcast. If you wanted to yap at me, I am very active on Twitter, probably too active on Twitter. I should get off of Twitter. That's at CryptidWorksYT. If you wanted to pretend like Scott will reply to you, you can do that at badpipespod. And if you wanted to address the fact that I am wrong, the eagles in Tolkien actually do not talk. They only make eagle screeches and show up when it's convenient for the plot, which I'm not arguing with. The eagles only show up when it's convenient for the plot.
Yeah.
In Tolkien.
Pretty much.
And I'm fine with that. But they're always yapping about something, okay? They're always yapping.
Always.
You can do that at the email, which is badpiespodcast@gmail.com. And as always, the music was by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio.
Hell yeah.
And finally, Fisherman's Friend is not a sponsor of this podcast.
Damn.
But we
maybe one day they could be.
Maybe one day they could be.